reparations is so important. Now we realize why reparations is so important. And forget about all the isms and schisms dealing with different schools of thought.
That's right. Buddy folks. Buddy folks, man. Yeah, come up to the mic, man. I want to get your take on this, man.
Actually, I wanted to kind of comment on a little on what the brother was saying, because he's exactly right. But what I think it comes from is we got an identity crisis as a people, because, you know, we went through so much. From African to African, American to Negro to any other name that they could come up with us, but then we accepted all that on ourselves. We feel like, okay, I'm a Negro, I'm a Negro, I'm a this, or I'm a that, instead of just realizing that you are what the Most High made you as, and we need to live as such. But again, by having an identity crisis, like you said, that leads to a lot of other things, and we just get lost in our minds. So the only image we see is that of the oppressor, or the one that took us in. And they say live the American dream, get your house with a picket fence and 2.5 children and this many cars. So being here, and when it comes dealing with that Roman Christianity, you just feel like, okay, well, that's what I gotta have. In order to make it, I can't deal with that African stuff no more. That's that mumbo jumbo, that's that old, that's that dark stuff. I can't, ooh, that's that devil worship, that's that this or that. But look at the light, the shiny white man is making everything right. So that's how it gotta be.
Blackson, can I make one more comment based on what he was saying? And the reason why that's so crucial for us, our mental, spiritual, our soul, and our physical situation dealing with illnesses and diseases is because now, like how the youth, because I speak to the youth just like these brothers. Right. And like I tell them, I'm just the future you. Okay. You and me from the past. There's nothing in the streets that you are doing or you're going to do that I haven't already done. That's but right. I'm here to tell you that there's a different way you can live, change, and think. And the reason why that's so crucial, because how we are breeding and how we're programming our youth today is that they relate to, they don't know who they are inside. They're nothing. Everything that they are has to do with external things. The car makes them who they are. Right. The jewelry makes them who they are. The money, the houses make them. If you strip all those things away and ask them, who are you? They're nothing. And reason why that's so crucial, because once again, that goes against our very nature. Mm-hmm. That's why it's easy for a brother to senselessly kill you. You know what I'm saying? Right. We've lost that disconnect, that emotional connect with living things that really matter. Now what matters is these material things. They flip the script on us. So somehow we got to flip that script back to where soul, living things, caring matters. Mm-hmm. Now they don't matter. It's just getting it and taking it.
I think the brothers touched on something very important, and that is one of the things that you said was program. We have to deprogram ourselves. And if you call yourself a black nationalist, that's rooted in something. You know, you can go back to that history and reconnect yourself to that history if you have been kind of like on the wayside, you know, with your consciousness, because survival teaches us certain things. You know, survival, just the conditions that you live in teach you certain things. You know, but being a black nationalist is a special thing. Yes. That's special. That's outside of the box that we were put in. So we have to transform ourselves out of the hands of the European frame of thinking and put our hands in the frame of the African frame of thinking. But then still, even deeper still, since we are disconnected from the African way of thinking, you know, we consider ourselves as being new Africans in terms of reconnecting ourselves to our story that strengthens us and empowers us. For example, 40 years ago, we changed our way of living. We changed our way of living. We changed our way of living. We said that we weren't going to eat pork anymore because we had been programmed into doing that. You know, then when we continued to delve into it even further, you know, we changed our whole natural thinking of nutrition, you know, because we were malnourished and didn't know it because it was programmed into us to be malnourished. Right. So we began to seek nourishment in all types of forms, you know, in education, African studies, black studies, in health, you know, we just changed that whole definition, you know, so we have to be about deprogramming ourselves. Deprogramming ourselves, so that then we can be preparing ourselves to be those things that a black nationalist would want to do, which would be want to be independent, want to be self-determining, want to be sovereign, want to be repaired, even though reparations is a legal term. It is a legal term, but our job is dual. On one hand, we got to do all those internal things. We got to study our history. Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, Ivan Sertimer, Shashi McIntyre, Marimba Ani, the ones who can tell us the truth. But then we still got to fight against injustice. We're in a precarious situation, but I think it's winnable.
Yeah.
I think it's winnable.
One of the things too, and this is a good conversation, as black nationalists, I think too, we have to make sure that we, let the people see how much it truly encompasses. One of the areas that I think that a lot of neglect goes to, we say in black nationalists, we say political, economical, and social. I think a lot of neglect goes to our social. When it comes to our social building up as black nationalists, I think that we take the route, we take the visionary tactics, and we take, we're at each other's throats, so to speak. I'm not a Christian, but I will say this from a historical standpoint and just from the standpoint of being a black nationalist and a revolutionary. When we look at, this is what black nationalism is. Black nationalism is putting and having understanding that it's about the survival of our race.
That's right.
So at one point in time when we were segregated, and a little bit even after segregation, a little bit after when we were integrated, the church played a vital role.
Okay.
It was the center of our community. The politicians came to our churches to address the black community.
That's right.
It set the moral and ethical standards for African communities. So it played a vital role. It didn't have anything to do with so-called the teachings of, whatever they were teaching in there on Sunday, because everybody would go to the church. If you didn't go to church every Sunday, when there was something going on in the community, you would go to the church. How'd you find about the sick and the shut-in? We're going to have a sick and shut-in call at church. You find out Miss Johnson was sick and elderly.
That's
you
right.
find out who needed or who what. So our religious institutions, whether it be the churches, the mosques, the synagogues, whatever you go to, have to become the center of our communities again. They have to be that social club again, where we meet together, where we discuss our places where our intellectuals and our soldiers and everybody come together. We have to have our religious institutes have to start contributing to our social development again. That's one. And then saying that.
Are atheists welcome to come along too?
Huh?
Are atheists welcome to come along too?
Absolutely.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
What nationalism?
Good.
Nationalism
right.
is this. What I'm saying, nationalism is this. Nationalism is about empowering our race survival. Right. It's not about critiquing or criticizing other people for their beliefs.
That's right.
If you're a true nationalist and you're a Christian, man, I don't have time to sit here and debate with you.
Yes.
Theology.
That's right.
We need to be discussing our survival.
That's right.
You'll find us being a people, the only people that get involved with that. When you look at the Democratic and the Republican Party, they're the same people for the survival and empowerment of this nation. They don't get in there and go through fisticuffs and all of this type. At the end of the day, they agree to disagree. They say their disagreement is about what? About the betterment and empowering of this nation. As black nationalists, this is what we have to do. We have to invite everyone.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And when we come together to the round tables, we have to leave that sissy skin, for lack of better words, that soft skin. And we have to be able to come to the table and we have to be able to leave our emotions and to logically analyze our problems. And we have to this is what I tell people, man, I'm a revolutionary. I've never been one for civil rights, but Dr. Martin Luther King is one of my heroes.
Okay.
Because it had it not, in my conclusion, had it not been for the civil rights movement and the integrationist movement, we would have not known it didn't work.
And I want to,
you know what I'm saying? So we thank them for that.
Yeah.
That's right.
You see?
That's right.
We have to recognize that we have some tracks,
Exactly.
some realistic tracks, that define our, what path we're on, in terms of our identity, our purpose, and the progress we're gonna make with that energy, with that consciousness. And that is we have to recognize there are black integrationists in this country.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
You know what I'm saying? That have high consciousness. Because I look at blackness